Okay then guys, so because my dumbass told you lot that I would give you a tutorial, I guess here we are, Collider's at 600 members. So we're going to go over a tutorial on how to install Blizzard, so hopefully some of you guys can do it for yourself. So we're going to start up. This is what you're going to look like when you buy your Blizzard. You'll get given a game that looks like this. It'll all come pre-installed for you. Lovely. It'll come with these helicopters. Won't be laid out like this. This is just because it's my little game that I use for testing and random mimicking stuff. Hey ho, let's get into it. So first thing you're going to want to do is load in your helicopter. Now I'm going to be special and make a gyrocopter today. So here we go, we've got our model ready to go. Now first thing you're going to do is go inside and see what you're working with. So you can see here I have got fuck all to be working with. I've been given nothing. So first thing I'm going to want to go ahead and do is add in a pilot seat. So we're just going to go in, insert objects, find our seat. And I'm going to go put this over here on the pilot seat. And there we go, that's the video. That is how you install Blizzard. No, I'm kidding. Right, okay, so first thing we're going to want to do is go ahead and name our model. This is just to help keep things organised. So we're going to make two models inside here. So we're going to make one called, that's a module script. We're going to make one called functionality. And we're going to call the other one parts. So functionality is where all your key parts of the heli are going to go. So your spinny bits, your movie bits, your physics bits. So we're going to put our seat here, call it pilot, because that's how Blizzard likes us to call our seats, as you can see here. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go and put all these parts that you can see here that are just on the body. These aren't moving parts. We're going to go ahead and put this inside our thing called parts. This down here looks like a light. I'm not going to bother lighting that in this tutorial. So now we move on to the fun part. We're going to put all these rotors into functionality. First thing we're going to want to do is going to create a new model called rotors. Then one called doors, one called lights, what else do I need? You can always go back and cross-reference with another one of your helis at any point. And gear, that's the last one I'm missing. Now inside rotors we're going to put two more models. It's going to be rotor 1 and rotor 2. Now what you can do here in this case is you could have just copy and pasted it all from another heli and just emptied it out, but I'm doing this from scratch for you guys. So obviously we're going to go and split these into here. And that's that done for now. So now what we're going to want to go ahead and do is I am going to copy and paste now. We're going to need an engine and aim from. Going to copy those, paste them into our little gyrocopter, paste them into the functionality folder to make sure. Now, it is important for your balancing that your engine needs to be lined up right in the centre of gravity with your aircraft. Those of you that know anything about aviation will know that this is to do with balancing, and it really does help with the flight characteristics of your aircraft. So if you want to get something that performs just like the real thing, this is where a lot of converters actually screw up. They put the engine in the wrong place, and it just fucks with the entire flight performance. So if you get a converter that doesn't know how to do this, I'll bloody fire him. So we're going to go ahead, and what I do is, on most helicopters you can just copy and paste it right into where the rotor model is, but because on a gyrocopter these are offset, I'm going to have to do this manually. So visually we can see that there is quite nicely central. Now this engine I think is a bit tall as well, so I'm going to take this down to about 3. We could probably get away with 2. There we go. Now next thing we're going to do, you've got this brick here called aim from. This is where your vector's generated from for steering the heli. You want this to be right below the engine, and you want it to be up about in line with where the head of the pilot is, which is about there. If you put this too low, too high, what's going to happen is you're going to get weird controls from your heli because of how it is positioned. It's quite difficult to explain, but you need to make sure you get it in the right space, which is about the same height as the pilot's head, directly below the engine, and that will give you the best performance. Right, so now we're good to go ahead and start copying some of this stuff over. So we're going to copy our events, settings and stats folder, copy that, paste it right into functionality. We're also now going to want to go ahead and copy the script called keybinds, paste that into the pilot seat. And final thing we need to do is, we need to make, you can either copy and paste from the rotors folder, or you can make them yourself. These bricks called spinners, I'm going to copy and paste them just for simplicity's sake. And you're going to copy and paste them into rotors. So there's 2, one for each rotor. So what we're going to have to do here is, these are what make your rotors animate, this is what makes them spin. So, to make this work, we need to start off by lining them up with our rotors. So, easiest way to do that, I might put these in the right place of rotors. Yeah, right. Right, so first off we're going to get our rotor, we're going to copy the position of it. And now, obviously what's going to happen, that's going to spin at a really weird angle. So now as well we're going to copy the orientation. And that will now spin perfectly. And we're just going to do the same again with the second spinner and the second rotor. Lovely. Right, so now we get onto the fun part. This is going to be our welding. So I use Motor 6D Creator by the Nexus Avenger. You can use any weld plugin you want, but this is my favourite one. I'll have a link down in the description for you all. I'm just going to go straight to create welds. If spinner or engine have any existing welds still inside, you're going to want to delete them, because we want this all to be from scratch. So you're going to start off by spinner, and you're going to weld these rotors, just like that. Spinner, and weld the stuff that you want to spin. And that's your rotors done. Don't touch that again. Now you're going to weld everything else to the engine. So engine to my part 0, select that, and now I need to weld everything inside parts to engine. Now the last thing that we need to check is everything needs to be unanchored inside parts. There should only be 3 things anchored inside your model. That should be the spinners and the engine. So this, and this should be anchored. Everything else must be unanchored or your heli will not work. Now the final thing to go ahead and do is copy and paste your regen button and paste it Now you're going to want to group this one more time. I'm going to call it gyro regen. Now inside this model you'll see that we have the gyrocopter and the regen button. So now if I am to publish to Roblox, I should have some form of working helicopter. I really should have got this game ready beforehand. So let's go ahead, give it a test, and see how it flies, if I've screwed anything up, mainly. All looks good so far, and as you can see, the more observant of you would have seen there that one rotor sped up before the other. I'll show you how to fix that in a second. So as you can see, it's all flying around nice and lightly, but the throttle response on this is far too high. So what we're going to go ahead and do is head back on in Studio, and now this is where the finicky bits start. We've got to start balancing it out. So we're going to start off with our rotor speed ratio. We're going to change, so this is how fast your tail rotor spins in comparison to your main rotor. So because Blizzard is mainly set up as a helicopter rather than this sort of gyrocopter with 2 blades, so because we want both of them to spin up at the same time, we're going to change this to 0 because we want them to have the same speed. Next what we're going to do is we're going to edit our lift factor, because at the moment it's too high. This is why our helis shoot right into the air. So I'm going to change that. We're going to take this down to about, let's say about 28. And we can change our heli here. One final thing, if you end up having to rechange anything, so say I have to, because actually I am going to move the aim part on this, I want that to be up a bit more. Because you've now moved that, you've broken the weld, so you're going to have to go back into it and re-weld it. So now I can go ahead, publish this. And give it another go. And hopefully this time it should fly a bit better. That jumping around is happening at the start because of the type of the model. So yeah, you can still see that the throttle is too high, that's why it's jumping up and down like that. You can see here it's being a bit sluggish. So that's because my torque probably needs to be brought up a bit. So if your heady's being sluggish to respond to your mouse, you can go here into your torque multiplier. This is already actually quite high. Let's change it to a 0.3. One other thing is, I forgot, you can't put your rotor speed ratio on 0, it needs to be 1, because it's 1 to 1. Let's go ahead, take this lift factor down again. This one should actually have quite a low lift factor since it's got so few parts. It's quite a light model in terms of how much it weighs and how much force it's going to take to lift it up. So once again, let's go and give this a go. I don't know why that's happening each time. I think it is just to do with here we go. This is flying much nicer already. Ooh, right. So that's what I'm on about there, the weird controls. So I need to adjust my aim part there, because what's happening is that's causing the heading to flip. I think I've chosen a bit of a bad model to demo with, but hey ho, we'll stick with it. So yeah, I'm going to have to go ahead and adjust my aim part. So I think what I'm going to have to do to fix this is I need to push it back a bit more. Push it back a tiny bit and bring it down. This should hopefully make it fly a bit better. The lift factor is still going to take down a bit more because you saw that was still quite high. So this is where a lot of your tuning is going to come into. I've shown you for the most part now how you tune it. None of this doesn't really matter since there are no doors. I think a Strains tutorial still shows you how to make doors anyway. Right, this will be the final test, and let's see. Now obviously Blizzard has a lot of area for customization with things like doors and lights. The rest of it is a bit bleak, to be honest. But it is possible if you know what you're doing. There we go, that's flying much better already. Right then guys. That is how you convert to Blizzard. I do hope a lot of you have found this useful, and yeah, thank you for getting Glide to 600 members. I've honestly never thought it would get to that level of members, and so thanks for being here. I hope you like what we're doing, and I hope many of you enjoy this tutorial. Please do give it a thumbs up, consider giving it a follow if this has helped you out. I will put out some more tutorial videos. Let's say, if I can get this video to 200 likes, I will put out an animation tutorial for how to animate gear and doors on Blizzard. Get this video to 250 likes and I will put out that video. So thanks for watching guys, and I hope it helps.